Hello, my dear students. At the outset, I would like to welcome you all for this PPT session that you are going to study through learning management system, which has been introduced by our renowned Department of Collegiate Education, Karnataka government. My dear students, in this PPT session, we will be discussing the poem "The Unknown Citizen," a beautiful poem written by W.H. Auden. Dear students, you may be knowing the meaning of the word citizen. So, who is a citizen? For whom we do call a citizen is a person who has got all the rights to live in a society or in a particular state or country. So let us begin the class. Before getting into the class, let me introduce myself. My name is Yogish. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of English at Government First Grade College for Women, Hassan. In this session, we have got some learning objectives. This session will help you to understand the context and the use of language and various themes of the poem. After listening to this session, you will be able to comprehend the poem and to write your reviews based on your understanding. And these are all the following contents we will be discussing in the further slides of this session. We are going to have information about the poet. As I already told you, this poem is written by W.H. Auden, and we will have an introduction class to this poem, and also we'll see the theme of the poem, and also we'll come to know about the societal life of the unknown citizen, and also we'll have the session's summary at last. And at the end of the slide, at the end of this PPT, you will have some references to this session. Let's have discussion about the poet. This poem has been written by W.H. Auden, an American poet. His complete name is Winston Hugh Auden. He was a British American poet. And he was not only a poet, he also wrote some plays, and he was also a playwright, and he was also famous for his criticism. He got name and fame as a critic, and also he was called a librettist. His poetry was noted for its stylistic and technical achievements, its engagement with politics, morals, love, and religion. We could see all these elements like politics, morals, love, and religion in almost all of his poems. W.H. Auden wrote a great deal of poetry, with many of the best Auden poems written in the year 1930. Some of his notable collection of poetry are as follows: Stop All the Clocks, Ottoman Sunk, Lullaby, Night Mail, In Memory of W.B. Yeats, If I Could Tell You, etc., are some of his notable and popular poems. Let us see the introduction to the poem The Unknown Citizen. Known, unknown. Opposite word of known is unknown. And what do you mean by unknown citizen? Because what is a? I told you that the real meaning of citizen. A citizen is a person who has got complete liberty and rights to live in a systematic state or in a society or in a country. So he is called citizen. So this poem is a kind of a satirical elegy written in praise of a man who has recently died and who lived what the government has seemed an exemplary life. We are all living in a society where we have some restrictions. So we are all surrounded by some of the restrictions that have been imposed by a government. So we cannot cross those limits. We cannot grow. We cannot cross the boundary which has been imposed by the government. So this is a satirical elegy. A person has taken his birth in a specific state, and he lived his life, and he followed the rules and regulations which have been imposed by the government. And at end, he dies. Okay, he lived what the government has seemed an exemplary life. The poem deals with the effect of science and technology on man in society. So, in this particular poem, we could see how science and technology have influenced on humans' life. In this beautiful poem, Auden paints the picture of an unknown man in the modern society, and how a person has taken his birth and how he has got adjusted to the modern society and how he used to follow the rules and regulations that were implemented by the government. And the poem has some major theme: oppression, surveillance, and the state are the major themes that we could see in the poem. The Unknown Citizen reads as a cautionary tale to modern society, asking people to question the relationship between the state and the individual. Of course, we people, we are also called citizen of our country. We are all living in this country, but we are abide by the rules and regulations that have been given, that have been instructed by the state government or central government. So, in this poem, we can see the relationship between a state and the individual. As we see the relationship between us and the state government or in the central government in our country, so we could see that kind of relationship in this poem in between man and state. And in this poem, The Unknown Citizen, we can see how the man was leading his societal life. The poem starts with the speaker's claim that there were no official complaints against the unknown citizen. So he led such a pure life. He had no any complaints, official complaints by the government or by his neighbor or by any of the person whom he was known to. There were no any complaints, and he was considered a saint. He led such a peaceful life in the society, and he was considered a saint or a sage because he did not harm anyone. He was quite obedient to the government, and he was quite humble with his neighbors. So he led such a complete life as a sage or a saint in the society. Except when he went to war, he was also profoundly dedicated to serving greater community, and he was not hesitant to go to war field to participate in the war. He went to war and profoundly dedicated to himself to the greater community. He worked in a Forge motor insurance company and satisfied his employers, and he depended on a company called Forge Motor Insurance Company. And in his working place, also, we could see the unknown citizen satisfied his employers because he was honest in his work. In the lines 14 to 21, in the previous slide, we had discussion about the lines 1 to 13, and in the second stanza, we are going to study the lines in between 14 to 21. The speaker adds that citizen was always punctual in buying a newspaper every day. So, as a citizen of the state, he used to buy newspaper every day because he wanted to know information about what used to be happened in and around him. So he used to buy newspaper every day, and he had a health insurance. So as a citizen, he had a health card and to all of his family members, and was hospitalized once during his lifetime. He was hospitalized for once, and he used his health insurance card, and he was out of the hospital with the good health. However, he was cured. The speaker also claims that the man was equipped with all the technologies needed by a modern man. So he led such a modern life. He had his own car, he had his own house. So he had even a gramophone, a radio, a car, a refrigerator. He had some friends, and he used to drink with them. So he led such happy life. So he was not sad, he was not at all sad as a citizen in the society. He was happy with his friends, he was happy with his family members, and he had all the facilities, all the modern facilities which a common man should have. So, in this slide, dear students, we will be having a session summary. We'll be seeing what we have discussed so far. The poem Unknown Citizen was written by W.H. Auden in 1939, shortly after he emigrated to the United States. That is what we called him, British American poet. The speaker states that the dead man was an exemplary citizen because he did everything correctly according to the government. No one ever made a complaint about him. He worked at the same job for all his life and owned all of the right things. He did everything correctly in order to serve his society and lived a perfect life. So in this session, we have come to know about the poet, and also we came to know a small introduction to the poem, and also we have had a session summary. And for this session, we have got some references here, and we have taken all the information from the book Respondents Board of Editors approved by the Board of Studies in English. And also I got some information from below our website address www.studymatter.com and www.bodnan.com. Thank you, my dear students, for watching this PPT session. We will be discussing in our next session the remaining part of the poem. Thank you so much. Have a good day.